Differences between a frog and a toad. You'd be forgiven for getting two of our most charismatic species, the frog and the toad, mixed up. These land and water-dwelling creatures begin to stir when spring rolls around, hopping out of hibernation and heading to their breeding poles to mate. But how do you tell them apart? While these two small amphibians appear to be extremely similar at first glance, there are a number of significant distinctions between them. Hello viewers, and welcome to another interesting video on the channel, and we will be looking at what differentiates a frog and a toad. If you are new to the channel, please ensure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications for similar videos, as we upload every day to keep you updated. Number 1. Class. In terms of scientific classification, both frogs and toads belong to the same order Anura, which means without a tail, according to the Penn State University. Within the order, Anura has several families of animals, including Ranidae, which are referred to as true frogs, and Buphonidae, which are referred to as true toads. Number 2. Skin. While frogs have smooth and slimy skin that is moist, toads have thicker bumpy skin that is usually dry. The differences in their skin are because of their typical environment. Frogs spend more time in water or are usually very close to the water while on land, so their skin stays moist. Toads, on the other hand, spend more time on land and travel further from water. Unless you live very near water, you're more likely to see toads in your yard because they travel farther from water. Number 3. Coloring variations. Frogs and toads are not the same color. Frogs tend to be much brighter in color than toads. Most common frogs are bright green or yellowy green, though some have a brownish green hue. Toads are dark green or a dull shade of olive green. Number 4. Legs. You may want to take a look at the creature's legs. The hind legs of many kinds of frogs show that the animals live mostly in the water. They are longer than the head and body, giving frogs the ability to leap far over ground and swim fast through the water. In contrast, the hind legs of many kinds of toads are shorter than the head and body, and the animals look squat and rotund. Transporting themselves with very small hops, toads may even look at times as if they're crawling. A few kinds of frogs and toads actually do transport themselves by walking rather than hopping or leaping. Number 5. Shape. Frogs are much leaner in appearance than toads. They were often described as athletic-looking animals. Toads tend to be squat in appearance. They are sometimes described as being dumpy-looking. Frogs and toads don't have the same shaped noses. A frog's nose is somewhat pointy in shape, but that's not the case for toads. A toad's nose is much broader in shape than that of a frog. Number 6. Poison. A big difference between frogs and toads is that all toads are poisonous, while frogs are not. Toads have parotid glands behind their eyes that secrete toxins. These toxins permeate their skin, so you can come into contact with them if you pick them up, according to the Conserve Wildlife Federation of New Jersey. Most of the toxins are mild to humans, but you should always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water after handling a toad. Number 7. Spawn. Spawn is another key indicator for which species you're looking at. Both frogs and toads lay their eggs in water, but you might be able to tell them apart by the egg arrangement. Frog eggs are usually one mass or cluster, while toad eggs are usually arranged in a chain. Number 8. Location. Another hint is the animal's location. Since frogs need to keep their skin moist, they are often found near water. Their breeding usually takes place in fresh water too, and a cluster of eggs floating on the surface of a pond or attached to a water plant may be a sign that a frog is nearby. Many kinds of toads, on the other hand, don't need the security a nearby body of water provides, as their skin tends to be better at retaining the moisture it needs than a frog's skin. If there's no pond, lake, or stream nearby, you're likely looking at a toad. Number 9. Adaptations. How long can frogs breathe underwater? Frogs are amphibians and not fully aquatic animals. They still breathe through their skin. An adult frog can typically hold its breath anywhere between 4 to 7 hours. Frogs are amphibians who live in both water and land. For example, toads and tree frogs spend the majority of their life outside water. However, bullfrogs and green frogs spend most of their time in the water. No matter where they live, frogs will eventually come back to the water to mate and lay eggs. Individuals who keep frogs at home must look after certain things. Make sure your frog tank has plenty of clean and fresh water. You can use tap water, but it must be dechlorinated or free of any added compounds or harmful elements. Toads are found in fields, forests, and orchards. Like all amphibians, toads breathe through their skin as well as their lungs. When the toad is inactive, the skin usually absorbs enough oxygen to meet its needs, and breathing through the skin, known as cutaneous respiration, occurs underwater. During and after activity, a toad often actively increases oxygen supply by breathing air into its lungs. Unlike mammals, toads do not breathe regularly, but bring air to their lungs when needed. The air enters the toad's mouth through its nostrils, and by raising the floor of its mouth, the toad forces the air into its lungs. With all this being said, these two species are still quite similar to each other and can make a big impression on our environment. Are indicators of a healthy ecosystem, according to Wildlife Preservation Canada. They can't live in polluted habitats and are sensitive to changes in their environment, so the presence of frogs or toads is a sign that the habitat is healthy, while a sudden change in their presence can indicate that the area has become polluted or is otherwise unbalanced. There you have it, viewers. Thanks for watching. And please leave a like if you found this video interesting or educative. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so as to get notified when next we drop a video.